Well, so it's breaking news. The New York Jets have made a decision on whether or not to keep Aaron Rodgers, and it seems like it's tearing apart the Jets fan base. Like we're very divisive in regards to this, and to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense as to what we expected was going to happen. But nevertheless, it's breaking news for the Jets, and of course, we're going to talk about it. Aaron Rodgers, the era looks like it may be over. Again, nothing has been finalized yet, but that's the word on the street, and so let's talk about it.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance man.
Any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
And here we go. So breaking news. Aaron Rodgers flew into New Jersey apparently last week or last Monday, as the report is stating. Right, again, nothing's been announced by the New York Jets. Rodgers hasn't said anything per se, but I think it was Glazer that came out with the report that stated that the New York Jets have decided that they are going to be moving on from Aaron Rodgers in the 2025 season. And in all actuality, I mean, I don't think this is a surprise. Now, I for one will go on record as saying that I thought that Rodgers was going to be back. I didn't see this happening. I thought, look at Aaron Glenn coming from the Lions, what they did with Jared Goff and trading for him, bringing an experienced veteran quarterback into the building for them to kind of turn things around the way that they have, which makes a lot of sense, which I thought maybe he would follow that particular roadmap in year one to establish himself, kind of create that winning culture. Because again, I think in terms of if you're looking to go ahead and win some games in 2025, Aaron Rodgers, of all the quarterbacks available, I think gives you the best chance of doing that, right? If you're talking about potentially breaking the playoff drought, Aaron Rodgers gives you the best chance in doing that. But it looks like they're deciding to go a different route. And in all actuality, I don't think we can fault them for that. Now, I get it. A lot of Jets fans are very, very divisive on this. We're seeing a lot of individuals boycott the Jets, and they're pissed off. They want to fire Aaron Glenn already. It didn't take long for you guys to jump on that bandwagon. But let's really talk about this, logically here, trying to put emotion aside as Jets fans. So first and foremost, I see Wild Wave in the building. What's up, man? Appreciate you guys. Here you are in the afternoon on a Monday, chopping it up as always. My guy Dark Soldier in the building as well. Appreciate you guys for coming in and chopping it up real quick and just talking about this breaking news about Aaron Rodgers. But all right, let's just get into it, man. Like if we're being with and my boy Knob Craft, it's been a while, man. Uh, and then there's going to be the other side of the spectrum that look at this move, and I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I think if you watch the playoffs this season, right, you just saw the playoffs. The majority of the teams, in fact, I think all the teams that made the playoffs this season, with the exception of the Lions, of course, had mobile quarterbacks. Two mobile quarterbacks just played in the Super Bowl. Granted, the Chiefs just got the bricks beat off of them. I love to see that. It was great to see. It sucks that we had to go ahead and root for the Eagles or the Chiefs. It was one or the other. But I think the Chiefs became public enemy number one for everybody. So to watch them get knocked around like that was actually kind of entertaining. But you need a mobile quarterback, right? Aaron Rodgers is not that. I think at this point of his career, I mean, he's about to be 41 going into the season. Now, Kraft, again, some Jets fans are completely on the opposite side. I'm psyched to move off this old cripple. I wouldn't go as far as to say he wasn't a cripple. I did see he did have a little bit of wiggle to him throughout the season. I enjoyed watching Aaron Rodgers play football. We haven't seen a performance like that from a quarterback, I think, really in quite some time. He finished off the season as a top three quarterback season all time for New York Jets. That should tell you everything you need to know right there in terms of the quality of quarterback play we have had as a fan base. And I think that is why so many people are fearful of what's coming next, right? if you're honestly looking at this, Aaron Rodgers was not going to go ahead and take us to the Super Bowl this coming season. Now I know we all believed it was feasible and possible this last year because we thought as Jets fans, as a fan base, that we had a team that could carry and support him. Right? We thought we had the defense, the special teams was on point. We thought the coaching, although it was bad, that Aaron Rodgers can overcome that on the offensive side of the football. We got Brees Hall, we got freaking Garrett Wilson. We really believed that we were just a piece away. That piece was, a quarterback, an Aaron Rodgers level quarterback. He finished out the season as a very average guy. Like it wasn't great. Like if you look at the numbers, the New York Jets they averaged just under 20 points a game this season. Overall offense for the New York Jets this season, we were 24th in overall offense. Like it wasn't as if we were freaking world beaters in any sense. I don't even think we were average. 24th, we were below average in terms of total offense, in terms of yards, and of course in scoring. You also look at the scenario around him, right? The offensive line started off a little bit sluggish, but they got better as the season got better, especially as we benched Tyron Smith. You saw the offensive line start to gel, and that got better. The offensive line graded out as a top 10 offensive line by the end of the season. Like that's how well the offensive line played. And if you take out the few games Tyron Smith played where he looked like an old cripple in terms of what was stated earlier by Knobcraft, he looked like an old cripple. Like he was a shell of himself. It is what it is. But the offensive line graded out as a top 10 unit by season's end as they moved on from him and they brought in Olu. The team gelled. They got working together, young, ferocious, and like they played like a good offensive line. So I can only imagine with better coaching and, of course, a year under the belt, what that's going to look like next season. We still got to figure out that right tackle spot. I get it. But if we're being honest with ourselves, Aaron Rodgers on this roster was not going to go ahead and take us to the Super Bowl, even with better coaching, which I do believe better coaching would have at least, in my mindset, allowed us as a fan base to get the monkey off of our backs of having, the longest playoff drought in all of sports. I really believe that was the capability of an Aaron Rodgers-led team this coming season. But that's pretty much that was it. That was the cap of it, right? I don't think the Jets were going to be Super Bowl contenders with Rodgers coming back. And I think with Rodgers potentially being gone, we can also rule out Davante Adams as being here as well. You already saw some reports coming out that he's already decided that he'd be willing to play for this team, that team, and this other team. So there's a good chance that you got Davante Adams out the door. You got Aaron Rodgers out the door. Two polarizing veteran guys who, of course, elite in their day. I would say Davante Adams is a good to great wide receiver still. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's got another year in him. I definitely believe Aaron Rodgers is more in that good to average, guy. He's dropped a bit. I think we looked at the season he just gave us, and it's blinding us to what a winning team would look like. The Jets wouldn't have competed in this Super Bowl if Aaron Rodgers had played the way he did, the defense played the way they did last year, the special team played the way they did last year. We're not going to the Super Bowl this year. And after what we just saw in the playoffs, it just wasn't going to happen. If Aaron Rodgers had the same exact output, we would have broken the playoff drought. I believe that. But let's be honest, 24th in offense. They averaged under 20 points a game this season. We were atrocious in third down efficiency. The offensive line did their part. Our rushing attack was a joke. I think 4.3 yards per was the final output in terms of average. Finished out as I think 17th or 18th rushing game in the league. The offense wasn't good. So I can see why Aaron Glenn and Moogie would come in this thing and think to themselves, okay, so you bring in an Aaron Rodgers, best case scenario, we potentially break the playoff drought, right? Like that's the ceiling if you bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But what does that come with? Does that come with the polarizing, media thinking, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers is here now. This team should do this. Does that put another level of expectation on this team that really might not be achievable or attainable, creating more of a pressure situation for not just that coaching staff, the front office, but of course the players in the building? Are the players in the building going to be looking more so towards Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams for guidance because they've been there the last year with them? Whereas new coaching staffs coming in, trying to establish a culture shift, trying to go ahead and establish an identity. I think you got to ask yourself the question of is potentially winning 9 games this season, maybe breaking that playoff drought, really worth potentially slowing down or impacting the culture change we're trying to get. We're trying to go ahead and change the culture in the building. I think that when you look at this team, it's a bunch of losers. They've gotten comfortable in losing. This is an organization that's been so comfortable in losing over the last several years that they were willing to go ahead and give up the farm to go ahead and get Aaron Rodgers in the building. And again, I was a big supporter of it. I understand why we did it. It made perfect sense. We really believed we had the defense, we had the special teams. Zach Wilson was atrocious. We thought that was primarily the biggest problem. It wasn't Zach Wilson. It was the coaching staff. It was the quarterback position. It was the offensive output. It was the locker room in general, right? The stench of failure. It exuberates through those individuals, and they got comfortable in the stink. They just did. They got comfortable in it. Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately for us, didn't plan out the game plan didn't work. He's been here for 2 years. He was hurt, of course. Year one. He made it fun for us last season. I'll give you guys that. But the plan wasn't to bring Aaron Rodgers in here to win 9 games, to win 7 games, to win 5 games. The whole purpose of bringing in Aaron Rodgers was to go ahead and become Super Bowl contenders. And we fooled everyone. The media, the fan base, our rivals fooled everyone into believing that's exactly what we had done. We became contenders. This team was far and away from being contenders. I think we realized that there's a lot more holes on this team than just the quarterback. The coaching was huge. We got rid of the coaching aspect. Got that. Thank goodness for that. But the fact of the matter is, there wasn't a culture shift by bringing in Aaron Rodgers. This team had just gotten so accustomed to losing that they expected him to be the savior that was going to come through here, like we were going to be getting MVP Aaron Rodgers from several years back. I didn't believe that. The majority of Jets fans didn't believe that. We just thought, hey, just come in here and play average football, and that's going to be enough for us. And he gave us that. Average football. It got us 5 wins, guys. It got us 5 wins. Do we really believe Aaron Rodgers coming back going to year 41, that 1, he's going to be able to go ahead and finish an entire season again, and 2, that his presence alone, maybe with Davante Adams, yes, new coaching staff, is going to get us to the Super Bowl? Because if you're not wanting to get to the Super Bowl, then what are we doing? What does it matter? Who cares, right? Like, yes, the playoffs, it's great. It's cute. Once you get in there, you have a chance. But if you honestly look at what Rodgers would have brought to the table with the Davante Adams, with the new coaching staff, I can honestly say, okay, cool. We get to 8, 9 wins. Maybe we get to 10 wins. Got it. That's going to get us into the playoffs. Once we get into the playoffs, what is the confidence level that this team potentially could get on a run and go in the Super Bowl? After you've just witnessed what you just witnessed in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs this season, this team was far and away from that team. We just weren't there. So I think purging this roster of an Aaron Rodgers and a Davante Adams, again, 2 polarizing individuals who are going to draw attention no matter what, when they're trying to go ahead and establish an identity and a culture that is not that. We don't want to be the Jets. They're polarizing. Or are they going to be good because they got Aaron Rodgers or Davante Adams? No, we want to be the Jets, a team that's working together to achieve greatness, to potentially get into the playoffs, and maybe one day make a run. Everyone who's upset about this, just think of it logically. I get it, man. It's terrifying to think that, oh no, we just went from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers and then now to who, right? But we weren't lighting it up offensively. That wasn't the story of the New York Jets. That wasn't what we got to witness this last season. We saw some great passes here and there. We saw some incredible catches here and there. We saw some flashes of vintage Aaron Rodgers here and there. But that was 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers might be showing us fewer flashes of what he once was. And to risk bringing them back with all of the potential negative and polarizing attention that it can get, how they can pretty much draw away from the mission or the vision of this coaching staff, of this front office, I think it makes a lot of sense. Start from scratch, start over. You go into the 2025 season. I see somebody talked about Jameis Winston. I'm still on the boat for Justin Fields. If he's available and he wants to be a Jet, bring him into the building. Make it a competition for the quarterback spot. Does Tyrod Taylor eventually win out? Possibly. Is there a chance that Tyrod Taylor can go ahead and make a bit of a push with better coaching, a better offense, defense, stepping it up a little bit and make it to it's possible the Jets could still make it to the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor at the helm, but it wouldn't cost us an arm and a leg. It wouldn't cost us the I guess you would say the divisiveness that would come with an Aaron Rodgers or a freaking Davante Adams. you're trying to go ahead and establish your freaking foundation. And the foundation right now is the young guys we have in the building. The Aaron Rodgers experiment didn't work, guys. We tried it, and I think we have to come to terms with that. It just did not work. Why are we turning the page so quickly on an adult approach to potentially building a team the right way? The fact that Aaron Glenn and Muji did this, I think, should tell us that we are not seeing this team go on repeat. Those are hard decisions. That's a very hard decision to come into this building knowing the fan base, at least half of the fan base is going to want Aaron Rodgers, that every sports outlet, sports media outlet is going to be looking at you and what you decide to do with names like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in your building. And to tell Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, I appreciate you, man. This didn't work out, but you're not in the future of what we're trying to build here. That in itself goes a long way into proving to y'all, to us, that we have adults in the building leading the way. So I, for one, am keen on wanting to see what this looks like. I think most Jets fans should be keen on wanting to see what it looks like, what a proper rebuild, a proper foundation, a proper structure looks like in terms of building a winner. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is going to work out. I don't know. I have no clue this is going to work out. Because for me, this was the hardest decision they could have made, was to go away from Aaron Rodgers. Because if you look at it, you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you bring in Devontae Adams. Most of the fans are happy, right? You've got the new head coach, new coaching staff. So we've already seen a massive elevation of this coaching room. Like what Aaron Glenn has put together, the staff he's put together has been nothing but impressive in terms of potential, high ceiling guys, right? I'm excited to go ahead and see it all come together. Is Aaron Rodgers really going to go ahead and want to learn a new offense at age 41? I mean, the guy's been playing in a very similar offense for the last decade plus. You think he's going to go ahead and want to go ahead and shift gears to learning a modern day NFL offense that's going to put up points on the board and make this more of a complementary thing, offense, defense, special teams? I don't know. I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm just saying I don't see it. I don't think that he would. And for me, I think the coaching staff and the general manager felt the same way. Like, it's Aaron Rodgers, man. I don't know if he's going to want to come in here and play ball to our level. He's going to want to do Aaron Rodgers-like things. Aaron Rodgers might freaking leave and go play for the Titans or the Broncos or Steelers or whatever, right? And might go on a run and win a Super Bowl next year for all we know. I don't know if we're making the right choice. But as a Jets fan of this team since 1996, and there's a lot more veteran Jets fans in this building than I am. I get it. In this room, then I get it. But this was a hard decision to make. And the pure fact that our coaching staff and our GM was able to make it, or willing to make it, says a lot about them being adults, being the grown-ups in the building, in the room, making those tough decisions. Because if you're a parent, you know what this is like, right? You've got your kids. You want nothing but the best for them. And you're always trying to make decisions to help them, grow and be better, right? It's going to be a long process, but as parents, you make those tough decisions. The kids hate you. They're mad. They're whining about it. They're crying about it. But eventually, those decisions turn them into, prosperous and functioning adults in society. That's the goal as parents. We haven't had that in One Jets Drive. So AG and Muji coming in there, they're the parents. And we're going to be upset about it as the fans. We're the kids. We're like, nah, this is horrible. We want Rodgers. But ultimately, they're making the decision that's best for us, the organization, so we can grow up and be successful and functioning fans of an NFL franchise, because we've been fans of a franchise that hasn't been functional. It hasn't worked. It hasn't been effective for a long time. So having to be force-fed, the right choices might not be the worst thing. Now, where do the Jets go from here in terms of quarterback prospects? Like I said before, Justin Fields, I think Jameis Winston, I think those guys are going to get some phone calls. I wonder if we're going to go in the draft and grab a guy. I don't think this draft has any real studs that really gets the needle moving, in my opinion. But if we're being honest, I think if we're Jets fans, hey, buckle up. I think it's time for us to buckle up and get ready for a very, very rough season. Expectations for the 2025 season, I think, for us should be retooling, right? Establishing an identity, establishing a culture. I think the 2026 draft is going to be where we wind up finding our guy. And this season might prove to be a painful one for us, but if that pain equates to us getting to a position to draft our guy in 2026, we might all look back at this and think to ourselves, well, the pain and suffering was worth it. Or as luck may have it, because we are Jets fans, we might look back and think to ourselves, it's nothing but suffering. Nothing we do is going to work. Nothing we do is going to function. We are always going to be in this stage, the state of chaos and suffering, because as Jets fans, that's just our story. That could also be our reality. But for one thing, I look at this move, and I don't think it should be shocking. I think the fact that so many individuals are shocked by, the decision to not move or go with an Aaron Rodgers, I think that to me is more surprising. That there was this massive reaction to it from our fan base, as if it wasn't, a possibility, as if like it could never happen. I think that when it comes down to it, we, will be the year we draft the QB if we don't trade up for Ward or Sanders. And I agree with Eagle fan. I think that our quarterback is most likely not in this draft class. I think it's going to be in the next draft class. I don't think Ward or Sanders are worth trading up for. I'd rather keep those picks to kind of build on this current roster for the future franchise guy. Again, some of y'all might disagree. And here we go, infrared Jets. Again, I agree. Almost 3,900 yards, 28 Ts, 11 INTs aren't crippled numbers to me. Nobody we get is going to come remotely close to those numbers. Looking forward to a 5-win season again. Season's over. Now, and that's a fair outlook, right? I don't look at the options out there at quarterback and think to myself like, yeah, these guys are going to give us the best chance to go ahead and make a push. I do believe Aaron Rodgers gives us the best chance of potentially making the playoffs. But understandably so, that's short-sighted. I think that's just for the now. Although those numbers would tell you like Aaron Rodgers had a good season, I think if we all watch the games, we all know Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good season. At least not a good season that speaks to these numbers. Because if you look at these numbers literally are better than, I mean, heck, I think they're on par with what Josh Allen did passing-wise. I think he definitely has more touchdowns than – actually, I think he has more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes and freaking Jalen Hurts. So we were just in the Super Bowl last night, right? So, like, those numbers would be an indication, like, wow, man, their team must have did great. But they didn't do great, right? Like, opportunities to go ahead and get W's in the fourth quarter were lost at the hands of Aaron Rodgers. But, of course, he put us in positions to win games in the fourth quarter. So, like, if you watch the games, you also realize that we left a lot of points on the table. We could have potentially achieved more. And although those numbers are impressive, they don't tell the whole story. So, but you're right. I don't think there's somebody out there that's going to go ahead and even replicate those numbers for next season. And honestly, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers could replicate those numbers again for next season. Because again, we're going into year 41. And I just don't know if we can guarantee ourselves another full year of Aaron Rodgers staying on the field. Let's be honest. The guy played injured quite a bit as well. I just think that what it boils down to is we got to give it a chance, guys. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is gone. We tried it. We were hopeful. We thought that this might be the way. It wasn't. Ultimately, we won 5 games with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. I personally think we're going to win more than 3 games, Tigo. I don't think 3 games is where we're at. But if it's 3 games, that means we'll have our pick of the litter of the quarterback we want in 2025. And I think we've got to get in that mindset as Jets fans, right? Like, I don't think this is a rebuild. I don't think this is a rebuild. I think this is more of a retooling. Phil Adams with great questions. Brave New World. How long to change a winning culture? Change to a winning culture. Look at the Lions. Look at the Lions. Again, the Lions were us in terms of a purgatory the team and fan base where winning was foreign to them, right? In 5 years, they've become Super Bowl contenders. I would say 2 years is because the last 3 years, the Lions have been kind of entertaining to watch. So I would say 2 years. But I would even go further to say that Aaron Glenn is starting off with more talent currently on the roster than the Lions had when they started their process. So maybe that gives us a bump. Maybe it is a 1-year thing. I don't know. I think there's a lot to like about the coaching staff that the Jets have put together. Again, in terms of ceiling, I'm not going to sit here and tell you these guys are going to all be hits. I don't know if they're all going to be hits, but you got to appreciate what they bring to the table in terms of experience. The coaching staff has a bunch of guys who are former players who've seen the game, not just from the vision and the level of the players, but now at the coaching level, right? They've seen what right looks like. That goes a long way in terms of establishing culture because you know how to kind of like navigate through the turbulence of getting a team like the Jets into hopefully that winning mindset. Um, I don't know how long it's going to take, Phil. If I told you I knew that, I'd be lying to you. But if I had to guess, I would say get ready for the next 2 years to suck. I think next season might be rough. It might be a rough year. But if the Jets wind up getting the top pick, the 2026 draft, I think is where we're going to have our pick of the litter when it comes to the top potential quarterback prospects. And if that hits as well, which God willing, that hits, then you go through the growing pains of a rookie season, unless you, of course, have a Jaden Daniels type of rookie season where, boom, immediately you get the quarterback, and then you. But on average, that first year, as we all know, it's kind of a learning curve. Um, Maybe 2 years. If I had to put money on it today, I would say 2 years. If it's not these next 2 years, we're going to know that we just don't have the coaching staff. I think within the next 2 years, as an organization, as a fan base, we will know if Aaron Glenn and his staff can get this job done, or if he can't. So, look, this isn't a retool. It will become a rebuild. No QB will have players wanting to get out. Quinnen already tweeting Garrett rumors happen when we had a QB now. Without one day will get worse. I mean, I think that's a lot of hyperbole. I think that's everybody hitting on the panic mode. They're freaking out. Yes, Quinnen Williams liked Aaron Rodgers. He's upset that he's leaving. He's part of another rebuild. It probably sucks to go ahead and watch Bryce Huff, Mekhi Becton, CJ Uzama, all these guys win Super Bowls last night. That probably does suck. That probably hurts a little bit. But, we've got control of Quinnen Williams. We've got control of Garrett Wilson for the next several years. I don't think what we're hearing from their people close to the situation speaks to those guys' character. Quinnen Williams and Garrett Wilson have never come off to me as individuals who want to run from challenges. So all this fear mongering that's been going on in regards to like, oh, trade rumors this, trade rumors that, until I hear from one of their mouths specifically, I'm going to go with everyone's just trying to get clicks because that's the thing that we do nowadays. I don't believe a guy like Garrett Wilson, given the opportunity to be the reason for change, would go ahead and walk away from that opportunity. Just like Sauce kind of came out and said straight up he would feel like trash if he came here to fix this thing and he didn't get to fix this thing. I kind of feel like that draft class, if I'm being honest, all kind of embody that alpha dog mentality of like, I'm going to be the cause for change. And that includes Garrett Wilson. Quinnen Williams, man, listen, if we get Mason Graham and we use Quinnen Williams as a bargaining tool to trade him, he didn't have a great season this past year. I would hate to see him go, but I don't think anybody is untouchable in the building. If I'm being honest, I think like anyone can get got. I made the analogy the other day that sometimes you got to shoot a hostage to get everybody's attention, right? So they understand you mean business. And I think Aaron Glenn just did that. They just shot a hostage. Aaron Rodgers was that hostage. They shot him. Boom. Now everybody's on notice. Because if you can go ahead and take him out, I think that means anybody can be taken out. So yeah, I don't think anybody's safe, but I also don't believe in the rumors in terms of Garrett Wilson and Quinnen Williams being upset that he has to be part of a rebuild. I think that's just somebody who hasn't been told the vision yet by the coaching staff. And if anybody just watched football this season, you just saw the Broncos get rid of their Russell Wilson and they got a rookie playoffs. The Washington Commanders just got a freaking rookie quarter playoffs. So when they're talking rebuild, I'd wonder, like, you're not watching football then, because we just saw it happen literally in two different teams this season that were bottom of the barrel teams break playoff droughts as well to get to the playoffs. So I don't know, man. The Vikings got rid of Kirk Cousins and brought in Sam Darnold. Granted, that wasn't the game plan, but Sam Darnold came in there and took that team to the playoffs as well. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking like, oh man, it's a rebuild, I disagree. I disagree with Quinnen Williams too. I think like this is a guy who's just upset because he really liked Aaron Rodgers. A-Rod was not good with us. Watch him play with a chip on his shoulder and take the Vikings to the Super Bowl next season. It wouldn't shock me. it would not shock me the least bit if Aaron Rodgers goes out next season for another team and dominates, right? But again, I also don't believe that Aaron Rodgers was going to be willing to, I guess, fully change the way he plays football to accommodate a young, up and coming, offensive coordinator. I think there would have been some butting heads there. And again, we did the whole thing this past 2 years of giving Aaron Rodgers everything he asked for, and it didn't work out. So I'm not mad that we're looking at the team and seeing how the team can get better. Vice not. That's just my thought process on it. I don't really care what he does next year. I care about the Jets. I'm with you 1,000% Wild Wave. If Aaron Rodgers goes out there and gets himself a ring, hey, it was fun to watch him play when he did have those spurts. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I've watched Aaron Rodgers play, his whole career. My wife's a Packers fan, so I've been watching this dude since he first started playing, for the Packers. But like I said before, if it wasn't going to happen here, and I don't think he could have done it for us next year either. We can talk later. I got DMs I can show you. It's not doom. Click. It's real. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those DMs. I just don't know if they're coming from, again, the people close to whoever. I don't know if the reality of that is what you have, but I guess we'll see. And if Garrett Wilson doesn't want to be here, and if Quinnen Williams doesn't want to be here, okay, Jets fans, so what? We've been through this before. We've lost talent before that didn't want to be here. So if they don't want to be a part of the process to rebuild, then it's a rebuild. Then at that point, if Garrett wants to leave and Quinnen wants to leave and they get traded, congratulations. Well, we're in a full new rebuild. Aaron Glenn has a 5-year contract. You know what? You're all gonna watch the Jets. You're all gonna watch the games. We're all gonna complain together about it and hope and pray for the best and expect the worst. That's become our reality for years now. And the Jets are the 6th most valued franchise in the NFL. I think they're top 10 in all sports. Why? We keep giving them our money. So as much as we want to be upset about it, which is what we're going to be, if Quinnen and Garrett Wilson both find their way out of New York, then and only then will I admit, Wild Wave, it's a rebuild. Until then, it's a retooling for me. Difference is all those teams made those moves in a year with multiple first-round QBs. Not only this year, I didn't say this year. I just told you. I think next year, 2026, is going to be the year where we get our quarterback. But if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Hurts was not a first-round quarterback, and he went to the Super Bowl twice now since playing for the Eagles. So it's not to say you can't find a quarterback in a round outside of the first. I still didn't think Bo Nix was a first round quarterback, but here we are. You know what I'm saying? He played well enough to make the team to the playoffs. But again, I digress. Red, I'll be wasting year 20. You have to build a team the right way to have sustained success. That's facts. And that's facts. Like if we're being honest with ourselves, everybody that's complaining about, Aaron Rodgers, I think it's because we've been in this state of turmoil and we're looking at the very short-sighted aspect of Aaron Rodgers right now, today, gives the Jets the best chance to win next season. That's because it's all we can see, right? The quarterback situation right now, in terms of what's available, it's gross. Justin Fields would just be maybe fun to watch because he's got elite athleticism. I mean, Jameis Winston, that'd be entertaining, I think, too, to a certain degree. But in terms of if you're trying to break that playoff drought, the only thing we know for certain is that Aaron Rodgers had the best season of any of those potential candidates from last year. And he's stable in terms of, like, I think that he made the comment, his worst year was people's career seasons. And then the passing stats in terms of this past season just showed Josh Allen getting the MVP. So a lot of people keep looking at that stuff and thinking to themselves, like, yeah, like, this is ridiculous. Like, he's still got it. I'm not arguing, but we just saw Aaron Rodgers last year play like that, and we still just won 5 games. So are we a quarterback away? We don't have we're just not. We don't have the pieces around a franchise guy or a guy that needs everybody working. You know what I'm saying? To make it happen. We need a Jaden Daniels, a guy who can go ahead and take over a game when need be. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers can take over a game when need be. Another jersey that goes into to test the die in the closet. I mean, if it's the Rodgers jersey, I mean, he was still a Jet. I mean, I'll still rock that. He just gave us the 3rd best season of all time. If it's the Garrett Wilson jersey, now I feel that. I have a sauce one. I didn't actually pull the trigger on the Garrett one, so now I'm starting to feel better about not getting it. If he's really trying to get traded. Nick Shine. I don't think that rebuilding this team is negative. It's build the structure this year so a QB can come in 2026 and just we have already done. Have it. Thank you. It's the right move for a new regime. F the feelings. And in all actuality, in the description of this stream, I stated, this isn't the fan favorite move, but maybe it is the right move. And I think it is. I think you take this draft, you take this free agency, this offseason, and you start adding the components, the pieces that we need to go ahead and one, create the culture, right? Create the mindset. And then next season, you get your quarterback in that draft class. If it means you got to trade multiple picks to get the guy you believe can get it done, so be it. But you get your quarterback in that draft class and we move. You got to go ahead and you got to go ahead and do it the right way. We haven't done it the right way, right? We either overpaid free agents. We obviously made wrong draft. I mean, freaking, you just saw Mekhi Becton, who was a bum for a left tackle, a big bust when it comes to left tackle. Pretty good freaking right guard, though, right? He played pretty good enough to go ahead and help that offensive line of the Eagles team get to the Super Bowl. So you got to go ahead and make sure you're evaluating your talent and bringing in the right buildings. But I'm with Nick on this one 100%. I think that, you build the structure so this team can actually support the quarterback when we get him next year. And maybe it's a home run pick and he's a Jaden Daniels type of pick. And not only does the team get to support him, but he can actually put the team on his back and carry them too when need be. And that's what you hope for. But if we're looking at this logically, this was the move. It had to be the move. It had to be the move. Only stat that matters is wins. But we haven't seen enough of those. We have not seen enough of those. And I, for one, would like to start seeing them. And whatever it takes. Listen, I still believe that Aaron Glenn is the guy to go ahead and get this thing turned around. The guy has bled, you know what I'm saying, gangrene. He's still salty about how things have ended for him in the past. He brought that with him, right, as the coach now for the Jets, from player to coach. He's seen what good looks like in terms of coaching staffs. He's been a part of a massive rebuild for a failing and pathetic franchise like the Lions, like we are right now. So he knows what it's like to fix it. I still believe that the vision that they have can go a long way to making this thing work. But yeah, man, I want to start seeing wins. I'm so sick and tired of the individuals, right? The individual accolades for the New York Jets. It's cool. It's cute. But as fans, we're not getting those MVPs. Like we're not getting freaking bonus checks because they were, the rookie offensive player of the year or the Pro Bowl. We're not getting those checks. Like we get our I guess you can say reward through wins, and we're not getting them. We're not getting them as a fan base. So I'm ready to start getting some wins. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and just pretty much jump on here real quick, and break down the thought process, man, of Aaron Rodgers. He's no longer the guy. He's no longer the quarterback of the New York Jets. Again, hasn't been finalized yet. That's just, again, the reports that are coming out, but everybody's running with it. So I'm going to assume it's been confirmed, but we haven't heard from Aaron Rodgers. We haven't heard from the New York Jets staff either. So we don't know for a certainty that this is the case, but the word is Aaron Rodgers is out as the New York Jets quarterback. And I know as a fan base, man, a good portion of us seem split on this aspect. We're either upset or we're for it. I, for one, was okay with either outcome of Rodgers being here or Rodgers being gone. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers does give this Jets team the best chance to potentially make the playoffs next season. But then after that, what are we doing? And I think if you're telling me that my coaching staff and my new general manager wants to start establishing the culture now, right now, I'm with it. I trust the fact that both of those guys have scouting backgrounds. Some of the coaches they brought in have scouting backgrounds. We brought in, a senior personnel that's going to go ahead and oversee this thing. I love the way our front office looks. And I believe this front office is going to start making the right decisions for us to get to a place of relevance. As Jets fans, again, they have not earned our right to believe them. They have not earned our right to just trust them. And I completely get that. I really do. I understand everyone who's upset about it. I understand everybody who's skeptical. The Jets haven't given us anything to really look at and think to ourselves, hell yeah, we do that right. We just haven't. But as a fanatic, man, I got to look at this thing with an unlimited amount of zeal. And I think, okay, I'm liking what the front office looks like. I'm liking what the coaching staff looks like. If they're saying the right way to build this thing is to let Aaron Rodgers go now, take the pain of L's, because it's probably coming this coming season, to get the mindset refreshed, to purge this team of the toxic culture that was once there. So be it. So be it. I've seen saying keeping Rodgers makes us better. I'm with Nick. I see a lot of individuals going back and forth, man. I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to jump on real quick on my lunch break and do this breaking news with you guys. I didn't think there'd be this many people engaged right now. Maybe I should go ahead and just put in a lunch break stream on Mondays or something. There's a lot of you guys right now talking about this. But again, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's the New York Jets. You know what I'm saying? This is going to impact us. And I think this is the perfect way to end this thing, man. Dano, with new year, new vibe, hopefully, and that's what I'm looking for, man. I just want to start experiencing wins. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of being the LOL Jets. I'm sick of hey, Aaron Rodgers, had the third best season of all time for a quarterback. Cool, that's great. It's great for his accolades. It does nothing for us as a fan base. There's nothing for us as a fan base. It didn't equate to wins. It equated to 5 wins this year. That's it. We still added to the freaking longest playoff drought in sports history. So for me, the adults are in the building. They're making some very difficult decisions, and the fact that we're so divisive about it, I think, says it's being done the right way. Because if one side was happy and then the other side was not, then you would know oh well, it's not. If everybody's happy, then it's not being done right. If everybody's mad, then it's not being done right. But the fact that there's a split in regards to how this is going, that means we have adults in the building and they're making adult decisions. We're going to equals more gooder. Let's connect for a show soon. Hey, Nick, you let me know when, brother. It's been a while since you and I locked in for a show. In fact, if you and Tigo ain't busy, man, tomorrow night at the Hangout, we should go ahead and make a show out of it and break this down, because it looks like Tigo was definitely Team Rodgers. You and I are team. Let's get this freaking culture building done the right way. So we'll chop it up in the group chat. Let me know what you think. But I appreciate you guys for jumping on, man. A lot of y'all in the building. I didn't get to thank every single one of you guys. Eric was good, man. Love seeing you on this hour lunch break for me. I appreciate that. Same here. Took my lunch break real quick to just jump on here and talk about this breaking news, because I was thinking to myself I could do a quick one yesterday, but it was a Super Bowl, and I was like, you know what? Nah, I want to go ahead and make sure I get all the information first to kind of see what's going on. And this is fun at the perfect time. So I appreciate you for sharing your lunch hour with me too, brother. We won 5 games with him. Okay, wow, yeah. This is people talking about the QB situation. And again, people are saying oh, without Aaron Rodgers, we're going to win 3 or 4 games. Well, with him, we won 5. So what is the argument here? That he's worth the extra game we might win? Is that what you're saying? So again, that's hyperbole in terms of what it could look like for next season. But at the end of the day, man, I just want this team to stop losing. I just want this team to stop freaking losing. I couldn't agree with you more there. I'm so ready for this team to start winning, so we as a fan base have a product we can be proud of. I'm sick and tired of getting roasted. I'm sick and tired of wearing my freaking hoodies and stuff to the store in Texas, and people are telling me they're sorry for me. I'm sorry, man. Jets fan, huh? Ouch. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. It's no one's telling me hey, Aaron Rodgers, man, threw for 3,800 freaking yards this year and 28 TDs. That's the third best all time for the Jets. No one's telling me that when they see me rocking the Jets freaking hoodie or a hat. It's Jets fan, huh? Ouch. Sorry to hear that, bro. Maybe next season. I'm sick and tired of hearing it, man. Sick and tired of hearing it. So for me, I want this team to stop losing. And if that means we've got to purge this team of the losers, then so be it. And I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is a loser, but the Jets didn't win with him. So take it how you will. I want this team to go ahead and start establishing themselves as a legitimate team. It is what it is, man. At this point, and here we go. Wild Wave beautifully says Detroit went 3-13 under Campbell the first year in his tenure. They're now in year 4. This was year 4 for them, I believe. And they were considered Super Bowl contenders, but those injuries really beat them up when it came down to the stretch. So it took them 4 years to become legitimate Super Bowl contenders until injuries decided, now it's time to sit down. So I expect it to be a tough season for us next year. I do. I'm expecting it. I'm prepared for it. But for me, I want to start winning consistently and to have sustained success. And the adults in the building have made that their moniker. That's what they want to go with, the route they want to go with. And I think we as a fan base should embrace that. We we need to get over the thought process of selling short. You know what I'm saying? Just because like, oh, we'll win next season and it'll be fun for a year, and then what? Go back into the rebuild or the retooling the year after with less cap space because we have a higher cap. Like, think about that in terms of how we could potentially waste the Aaron Glenn era if we're going to go ahead and start the retooling a year after Rodgers leaves because we decided he might give us the best chance to maybe squeak into the playoffs. I'm over it, man. Listen, it's going to be a rough season. There's a lot of offseason to go. We still got free agency. We got the draft. A lot to be excited about. We have no clue what kind of decisions that these guys are going to make that could literally impact us for the better this coming season. All we know is we like Aaron Rodgers, and now he's no longer a Jet. So it is what it is. The goal cannot be surpassing the teams of the past. It should be competing with the top teams. Nick Shine, my guy's philosopher, New York Jets philosopher. I'm going to end it on that. I appreciate you all for chopping it up with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. 63% of you guys who watch the podcast, to watch the show, you guys aren't even subscribed. I don't know what's going on. By not being subscribed, you're missing out on opportunities to win some awesome prizes. We do giveaways on the show regularly. Another one's going to be coming up here right around freaking draft time. So I think you want to be a part of it. I'll announce it later on, but you want to be a part of the channel. Definitely subscribe to the channel and make sure you catch us on Tuesday nights at the Hangar Hangout at 8 p.m. Central. Nick and Tigo, I'm going to hit you guys up on a group chat, man. Maybe we can go ahead and get together for tomorrow night. I'd love to go ahead and take this even further because I feel like this could be a really good debate. But again, man, I appreciate you guys for spending your lunch hour with me. 109 of you guys total right now watching during your lunch breaks, or if you're at home, whatever the case might be. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, new era, new year, new vibes. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we start seeing this thing come to fruition. But as always, go Jets.
But here's what I do know.